Deep breaths, everything is alright. Chin up, I can't step into the spotlight. She said, I'm sad, somehow without any words. I just stood there, searching for an answer. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind if you're with me, then everything's alright. Why do my words always lose their meaning? What I feel, what I say, there's such a rift between them. He said, I can't really seem to read you. I just stood there, never know what I should do. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind if you're with me, then everything's alright. When this world is no more, the moon is all we'll see. I'll ask you to fly away with me until the stars all fall down. They empty from the sky, but I don't mind if you're with me, then everything's alright.
Oh, when a difficult day goes by, keeping it together is hard, but that's why you got to try, you got to try. And when there's a thundering storm outside, underneath the covers you huddle and hide. Open your eyes, open your eyes. It's the truth, it's the truth, it's the true kind of love. It's the truth, it's the truth, it's the true kind of love. Stuck in the middle of fear and shame, everybody's looking for someone to blame. Like it's a game, like it's a game. And now I am better than you. called the truth. It's called the truth. You show me that solvable problem. We can get through this. I'll do the hardest part with you. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth kind of love. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth kind of love. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth kind of love. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth kind of love. Mr. Blue, I told you that I love you, please believe me. Mr. Blue, I have to go now, darling, don't be angry. I know that you're tired, know that you're sore and sick inside for some reason. So I'll leave you with a smile, kiss you on the cheek, and you will call it treason. Well, that's the way it goes some days. A fever comes at you without a warning, and I can see it in your face. You've been waiting to break since you woke up this morning.
Well, good morning, folks. Happy to see some people here. It's a Friday. We made it. We made it to the end of the week of online school, and I hope you all survived. I survived. It was a heck of a journey, and I don't know. It's almost done now. Next week will be a new week, more opportunities for learning, more opportunities to mess things up, I'm sure, as I play around more with like curriculum and other things, but that'll be a bridge that we cross once we get there. So today, of course, is a write with me, but today specifically we look at our writing and we reflect on our writing. Reflection is super important, not just for your writing, but also just in general. Like, it's really good to reflect just on your life and what's going on. And I guess one of the really big pieces of reflecting on your writing is kind of accepting the fact that your writing is never going to exactly be what you want it to be. There is always going to be some room for improvement with your writing. That's just inherently kind of how writing works, is that it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to reach any sort of perfection. It's just going to, I don't know. What we produce and what we put out into the world, that's kind of like what we choose to put out into the world for the time being. There are definitely some essays that I wrote in the past, some stories I wrote in the past, and have like sent to competitions, sent to be graded, that if I were to look at it now at 24 years old, there are a million things I would change about it. But again, at some point we do just have to turn something in. Like, we have to hand something to a publisher or a teacher or a competition, whatever that may be. I'm feeling super pumped up now. Got Hero 2 from the My Hero Academia playing, and I'm just like feeling ready to live life. Oh, speaking of which, I should change this. I have to change this playlist, because this playlist has some songs that are not that are not, whatchamacallit, that are copyrighted. So I gotta be careful. So we'll do some insane music therapy. Okay. So anyone who was here yesterday, this was the story that I was working on. I basically went through this entire first scene right here. We had my little note sheet that I was going through as well to kind of keep track of things like character motivations, character feelings, character history. And we were working on like, how do I try to portray all of this in a way where I don't just explain all of it to my reader in narration format. And, you know, we did a pretty good job yesterday of doing exactly that. And today, our thing now, let me just close out of that really quick. Today now, our thing is going to be, I guess, kind of reading through the rest of this, making some revisions as we go through, because that's kind of part of the reflection process as well, is revising things as you go through. If you just read things and you didn't actually reflect on them, didn't try to make them better, there's really no point in trying to reflect on it. So if we take a look at this, okay, so in this last scene, Avery, our main character in the story, just had a really awkward interaction with someone that he used to know from high school. Avery's no longer in high school. At the time in the story, he is a freshman in college, or he's like between his freshman and his sophomore year. It is the summertime, so he's gone back home to work for the summer. And now he is actually about to go off, this story, like, is that summer. Like, this entire short story, which I think is probably going to be around like 15,000 to 20,000 words total, is going to take place in that entire summer, and is going to document kind of the building relationship between Avery and Matthew, and eventually that'll kind of lead into the actual main story of it. Because again, this is just a prequel short story that I'm doing as background for myself as a reader, and also if, you know, a future reader ever gets curious about how these relationships came to be. Okay, so let's just start reading this. So at home, the restaurant isn't looking too busy. Brandon's outside the dumpsters and delivery door. His face is guilty, even though his body is nonchalant. Old habits die hard. We all know he's still smoking, even though Dad told him multiple times to stop if he wanted to see life past 50. So this paragraph right here, there's a lot of tell in this paragraph. I can tell that I wrote this kind of in a rush because it's choppy, it doesn't flow very well, it doesn't really evoke anything in the reader. And, you know, as a writer, it's okay to not have every word evoke a feeling or an emotion in the reader, but at the same time, this is a short story, so I have to make every single word count, because if I were to cut this story down to, like, say 5,000 words, every single word has to count. And for some of you writers out there, this would be something that I recommend for you, is that if you're having a hard time trying to make every word count, challenge yourself to write more short stories. Challenge yourself to do flash fiction in 1,000 words. Challenge yourself to do something in 5,000 words. These are really good challenges to push your ability to tell a cohesive story in a short length, and also in a finite amount of words. And if you're doing a short story challenge, you cannot have it be a series. Like, you can't say, like, oh, this short story, you have to read part 1 and 2 to understand part 3. No, that's not how short stories work. Short stories can have some connections with each other, but at the end of the day, a short story has to be able to stand alone by itself. So, some working I want to do with this, there is some background that I have introduced through here. So let's open up our note sheet again. We'll do this on, let's just put today's date. Today is 4/3/20. Oops. Can't do those. So in this note sheet, it looks like we are introduced to a new character whose name is Brandon. Brandon is the older sibling of Avery, is the oldest sibling in the family, actually. And this entire sequence actually doesn't really make sense anymore, because originally I did have them working in a restaurant, But again, that is changing because they no longer work at a restaurant. They own a kind of like a resort slash country club type place. So that'll be the first thing I have to change, and a first note I have for myself. So they no longer own a restaurant, they own a country club. That's one of the notes for more show, less tell. And the way that I'm going to get across this more show and less tell is I have to dig into, again, Brandon's motivations, Brandon's feelings, and also Brandon's history. So when it comes to Brandon's motivations, he is definitely motivated by mostly their dad. So he mostly wants to keep dad happy by continuing to... Oh my gosh. By continuing to run the business. He is... I guess that is his main motivation. His underlying motivation, though, and one of, I guess, kind of his character growth and points of character development is that he actually wants to, like, he doesn't actually want to run the business. What would he rather do? I haven't thought this through yet. And again, this is why doing this kind of like prequel work is really important, because it's allowing me to do a lot of pre-writing, like character growth, character motivation, character development type stuff before I start writing the main story. So you know what? We'll have to insert something here. We'll come back to that later. His feelings, I would say he's disgruntled. And we see that through his smoking, actually. We see it through his smoking habit, where he has picked up an unhealthy habit to cope with his feelings that he can't express. Oh, so that's another one. Can't express feelings. Can't outwardly express feelings, I should say. I'm just gonna put in parentheses right here, like emotionally, essentially constipated. Like he has so many feelings about everything, but just can't express them to himself or to his dad. So I guess to that degree, he's kind of lying to himself. He's lying to himself, he's lying to the family, because he keeps telling people about how how important the business is, but he himself does not actually care about the business a ton. So I guess that's one of the ways that we see this. Let's say he also guilts them a lot. Because I think someone in Brandon's situation, that would be a very easy thing to do, is to like guilt the people who you feel like aren't pulling their weight, even though deep down inside you don't want to be the person to pull that weight either. Ironically later in the main story, the dad actually wants to give away / kind of like sell the business to someone else to manage and own, and Brandon is the one who kind of like takes the most offense to this, because Brandon then feels like he has just kind of like wasted his life away, because he's given so much of himself to this business and to make sure that it succeeds. So that'll be something that shows up later in the story. History. So his history, I guess we could say he has a, like, he's the oldest son. He always puts the pressure on himself to inherit the business someday. What else? So he's the oldest son. He always put the pressure on himself to inherit the business someday. Oh, this is a big one. He started going to college, but then dropped out to come back home and run the business after mom passed away. So mom passes away in the main story, like when he's in college, and so he ends up dropping out of business school actually, to come back home and help out with the business and make up for like what his mom would have done at the business. And again, that's kind of one of the complicating factors of his character, is that he gave up so much for this business that, you know, he's kind of scornful and kind of resentful about that. Ooh, that's a good feeling to put up here. Resentful. Ooh, but at the same time he's resentful, but also feels like he has to be the stable one in the family. And the reason why he feels this way is because, like, out of all the siblings, he's kind of the one with, like, the, I don't know, that kind of, like, stable personality, and the one who is kind of doing the most stable job right now, quite honestly, because, so Avery just finished school, so he's just gonna start his job. One of the brothers, Ryan, who is Avery's other older brother, Ryan is a full-time streamer, like, he plays video games for a living, essentially, and is a streamer, and, you know, I'm not saying that that's not a viable way to make a living, but also at the same time, it's probably not as stable as a job, say, like, you know, having a 9-to-5 type job. And there's a sister who is the same age as Avery. Remember, Avery was adopted, so Avery and the sister are the same age, essentially, just like a couple months apart. And she is, at the beginning of the story, she reveals that she's engaged and she's about to get married. But also at the same time, she is kind of like, she's kind of somewhat estranged from the family. I haven't really dug into the relationship dynamic of that family yet. I originally had an idea, but I thought that idea was a little too much, so I had to dial it back. And I think I'm going to do something else with her instead. But anyways, this is sister, and she's getting married. And then there's the youngest brother, who I cannot remember his name for the life of me right now. But the youngest brother is still in high school, so obviously the youngest brother is not that, like, financially stable yet. Other history that I should point out, or I should think about, I guess it's worth noting that he basically raised the siblings, because each, like, you know, their parents are really busy running the business, that Brandon essentially became the parent to all of these siblings. Oh, other thing though, he doesn't know how to talk to people. So this actually makes it really hard for him and Avery to have a strong relationship, because Avery is so kind of like emotionally intelligent, and Avery is so like can be so emotionally vulnerable most of the time that it actually makes it really hard for Avery and Brandon to mix, because Brandon is so emotionally closed off. And that's one of the kind of difficulties of their relationship. Okay, so we got our notes. Let's go ahead and take a look at this scene now. So at home, okay, first and foremost, I need a transition right here. Maybe like a, I don't know. So we know that he's on his bike ride to go home. I'm just thinking right now. So, okay. You know what, I'm just gonna leave these notes for now, because really the point of this is that I should just be reading and reflecting and not doing like a ton of revision yet. Let's take a look at the whole scene as a whole. So how was your first day at work, Avo? That Avo is kind of a nickname that they call each other. So what you would expect, the kids are crazy, energetic all the time, but they're all excited to practice music together. Any Prodigy kids in the mix? I shrug. I don't know yet. If there are any, they sure don't act like Prodigy kids. Brandon pushes up the wall and follows me to the door. Beth called in today. This is a sick kid at home. Might need you to do front house for an hour or two if things get hectic. Again, that's not a job that exists anymore because, again, this isn't a restaurant anymore, so that'll be something I have to change. Yes, Captain, I say with a salute. Front house isn't my favorite thing to do, but it's better than throwing me on the line. Ooh, yep. Gotta take all that out eventually. Any tips you make are yours, but... Whoops. That was bad. Oh, my mouse is sticky. Okay. So that's all stuff I have to change eventually, because that's all restaurant related. And again, this isn't a restaurant anymore. Oh no, all of this is stuff I have to change too. Oh geez, there's so much in this. It honestly might be easier just for me to start over with writing this. I don't even know if I can salvage very much of this. Well y'all, this is a fun learning experience that sometimes you just have to start over, and that's okay. In the kitchen, I find a spot at the table that hasn't been overrun by Brandon's mail yet. The guy seriously needs a secretary to keep track of everything. I think he was expecting either me or Stacy to stick around and help him with this kind of work, but we both dipped out for college. The only one still here is Jordan. Oh, Jordan's the younger brother. And Stacy is the sister, and he should be more focused on finishing high school, not running a restaurant. Not bad. Taking my food out of the bag, the receipt tumbles to my feet. I pull it out just enough and my eyes jump straight to the little message at the top. Your cashier today was Matthew Rhodes. It goes on a bit more, but I stop reading after his name and crumple the flimsy strip. Matthew Rhodes, one of Ryan's old friends. They were pretty close, if I remember correctly. We had a bit of time overlapping in band class because Mr. Green put me in senior band as a sophomore. He was one of the sax players, but never really fit the stereotype of a sax player. In my opinion, he was always quiet but not unfriendly. Just that kind of guy who would be part of discussions and would laugh at things and participate in his own way. Not only was I only sophomore in band of juniors and seniors, but I was also a clarinet and flute player. We really overlapped. I never had a reason to talk to him, even when he would come over occasionally to play games with Ryan and some of the other guys in their friend group. Okay, then it goes into like kind of a text message where Avery is texting his brother Ryan back and forth, and I structured it in this way to actually have this literal like back and forth, similar to how you would see in in like a phone when you're texting someone. I don't know how this kind of thing plays out in like real novel writing, so I don't know. That might have to change someday. All right, let's take a look back at this scene though. I feel like there's a lot of work that we have to do on this scene, especially in terms of like, taking a look at all of the things that are restaurant related that I've changed, because again, this is no longer a restaurant. Oh, okay. Oh geez, I don't even know where to start with this. Okay, you know, let's just start at the top. So this whole kind of interaction with Brandon, again, a lot of the feelings that we have to capture in this are, he's feeling disgruntled, he is emotionally constipated, he's lying to himself, he's resentful, he feels like he has to be the stable one in the family. So how do I capture that in this little scene? So this like back and forth conversation that they have, I actually feel like that helps to capture a little bit of that kind of like, their conversation is very utilitarian, and I think what that's good at conveying is that there isn't very much emotion in their conversation. Like, they're not having like a, how is your, like, oh my gosh, tell me all of the details of your day, and rather it's more of just like a, hey, how are you? This paragraph though, I think I have to just delete this paragraph. Oh, boo. Here, I'm gonna highlight this paragraph. Oh, I can do different colors? Wow, that looks really extreme. So I think I want this transition to be something about the bike ride home. So if I have something about the bike ride home, then this can be the, I guess, like rolling up to the whatchamacallit, the country club type place. So rolling up to the country club still feels like, oh my gosh, someone dropped a like, thank you. Don't be a stranger, drop a hello too in the chat if you feel so compelled. Rolling up to the country club still feels like, what does rolling up to a country club feels like? I've never been to a country club before, to be completely honest. Let's do some Googling. Oh my gosh, Aaron, hey. Welcome to the stream. I'm just doing some writing. Working on a story right now. Well, it's the prequel to a story, so it's a short story. But anyways, it takes place at a country club, so I have to do some research about country clubs. Aaron, how is your, like, quarantine life so far? Hope you're staying busy. Hope you're not too bored at home. Boring right now? Yeah, I totally feel you there. I don't know, I feel like I just keep like ping-ponging between like the same activities, but I'm starting to just get really bored of them. I just want to go to like the mall or something. Brother driving you crazy. Is he practicing his viola? I think he plays viola, right? Is he just practicing all day? Right in your ear? Not leaving you alone, oh my gosh. Aaron, just think about it this way. You're about to leave for college in like a year. I mean, assuming you don't go to a local college like Madison College or UW-Madison. And so your brother just has to get all of his annoying brother energy out there before you leave. Huh. Okay. Y'all, let's take a watch through this video and see what Bishop's Bay Country Club is all about. This is gonna be an adventure. I gotta pause my music.
Hospitality is not just a word at Bishop's Bay Country Club, it's our way of life.
Hospitality is perishable.
So every day we strive for perfection.
Every day, a new day.
A new chance
To do it all again.
Helping members and each other.
every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Oh my gosh, Aaron.
Every day.
Where good enough is never enough. True hospitality is
These moments of truth when we come into contact with our members.
Each day, striving.
Thank you.
Each day, giving.
Memories are made here.
And not forgotten.
Hospitality is our way of life.
Welcome.
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 Welcome to Bishop's Bay Country Club.
Wow. Well, that was. That was a. To turn down my desktop audio. Thanks, Alex, for telling me. Oh. Okay, anyone in chat, have any of you been to a country club before or something similar to a country club? Because I have never been. And I don't think I ever will because this looks like it's too rich for me to even look at. Like, what is their membership fee? Well, okay. Oh, Alex, you worked at Bishop's Bay for one summer? What was it like there? Like, what was... Actually, okay, that's a really broad question. Let me narrow that question down. What was, like, the typical... What's a typical day on a country club? Like, what would a typical member do at a country club, essentially? course they don't write the price up here of how much it costs. I bet it's like stupid expensive. Oh! Oh my god. What? Can I even zoom in on that? Oh my gosh. Oh, goodness gracious. There are age requirements for these certain ones. Oh my gosh. You're saying these are per person? Holy moly. Okay, y'all, I can afford the junior social pool and tennis. And what does that get me? That gets me 3 rounds of golf allowed per membership per season. Wow. So I don't even get like unlimited golf. I get 3 rounds of golf. That's what I can afford. Oh gosh. Okay, I should not be like, oh my gosh. Watch, I bet like Bishop's Bay freaking like sponsors the school or something, and now I'm gonna lose my job because I'm making fun of them on stream. Okay, I'm not making fun of them. I'm just like, I don't know. I guess the numbers just shock me. Wow. So it's $4,200 a year for full access to the club and all amenities. That's... I don't know. That seems like a lot. Like, what are... I'm so curious. Alex, you may be able to answer this question for me, but like, what exactly are the benefits to being a member of a country club? Like, obviously you get the golfing, you get the pool, you get the tennis court, and like the dining area, which I'm sure the dining area you still have to pay for the meals. It's just like you get access to go to that restaurant essentially. Like, is this mostly a prestige thing that people kind of go for? Oh my gosh, okay, we have to go. What? Why do people join country clubs? So y'all, this is an important part of the writing process, is that you have to do a lot of Googling and a lot of research of just how the world works. Okay, I don't trust this source because this is directly from a country club website, so they are obviously going to be very biased in what they present. Citylab.com. Why won't millennials join country clubs? Okay, what do they say? So many people are put off by the image of the country club. Old-fashioned. Hard time attracting younger demographics. Okay, so it looks like the history of a country club is that in the 90s, a lot of people in this young adult age range were playing golf. And so maybe that's how country clubs came about. So, okay, I can kind of see that being a thing though, because, you know, if you're playing golf all the time, like those prices at a golf course obviously can rack up a lot, but if you just have a membership to a place where you can go play unlimited golf, that seems like a pretty good thing. But I mean, if you're playing so much golf, I can imagine that you also, like, you know, you want a bar there so you could drink. You want a restaurant so you can have food. Or maybe you just want, like, an area. Like, maybe if you go golfing with your partner, but your partner doesn't want to golf, maybe your partner can go, like, hang out and... I don't know. Okay, so maybe country club isn't exactly the thing that I want for my story then. Because it seems like country clubs are very golf-centric. Okay, so it says... So country clubs are starting to change. They're starting to develop into different things. Okay, so they're starting to get more features like health and wellness options. Okay, I could kind of see that too. Like, if you have access to personal trainers and yoga classes, like, yep, that's probably a thing. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So in the age of Facebook and declining church attendance, country clubs are somewhere to socialize and make friends in real life. And air exclusivity can be one result of selective membership, but pre-existing bonds and similar attitudes can also offer a sense of community. So that's kind of interesting. That I could see that too, like people using country clubs as a way to socialize. I mean, it's a very expensive way to socialize. Like, the way I meet most of my friends is just through work or like through the activities that I do. Okay. So this is a little anecdote about Kim and her country club experience. One of my neighbors is smoking outside and it really smells bad. Ah, Alex, you finally responded. Normal day would be showing up. They have valet parking. Hit golf balls, go to the pool. They have people serving at the pool because they have a grill there. You can have private tennis lessons and go on the tennis or golf pro shop. They have very fancy food too. They also have housing there for people too. Oh, so I guess they do have housing. That's kind of cool. Alex, is the food free or do people still have to pay for the food? Okay, so I want to do a Google search for Wisconsin Dells. So this story I'm writing actually takes place in Wisconsin Dells, and I want to take a look at what kind of country clubs are up there then. Wait, these are all golf. Okay, so I don't know if a country club is what I'm going after then. Because I don't exactly know if golfing is going to be like the main thing that people do at this country club. Ugh. I might just have to call it a resort or like a weekend getaway kind of place. Yo, I'm so happy that I did this research because I just learned so much about country clubs and golf courses and, I don't know, fancy rich people stuff that I can't afford on a teacher salary. Maybe if I ever become a millionaire, I'll join a country club and I'll get that exclusive package of $4,200 a year for unlimited access. What kind of like weekend getaways? So Wisconsin Dells, I know for sure, has like a lot of weekend getaway type stuff. Ooh, these are kind of fancy. Dang, we are getting so off topic of like what my writing was. Like, we were supposed to read through this and make it better, but now I'm just doing research on... Well, okay, no, I take that back, because research is super important too whenever you're doing any sort of creative writing. Like, the reason why a lot of amateur creative writers never kind of like, their stories never break into the publishing world is actually because oftentimes their stories just are just not realistic enough. I mean, even for like a fantasy story, for example, you still have to have a decent amount of realism in it, otherwise people don't relate to it. People can't relate to it. People want to relate to a story. They don't want to just, you know... Very rarely do people just like to look at words on a page for fun. Ooh, these are kind of fun. Cliffside Resort and Suites. Okay, so this might actually be pretty close to what my story is going after. Let's go to their website. Because in my story, it takes... So in my story, they are kind of like on the river, because the love interest, whose name is Matthew, he is one of like he drives a yacht around as a job. this is kind of cool. I wonder if they have a video. Amenities, heated indoor and outdoor pools. Oh, I hate how this scrolls. I hate when websites do this. Like, it's like they made it so that way it has momentum when it scrolls, so like even when I'm not scrolling, it'll just keep going. It just makes me feel like I have no control over my life anymore, which, let's be honest, I never had control over my life. Ooh, front row seat to the famous Tommy Bartlett ski show. Staged directly across the lake from the resort. Oh, that's kind of cool. "10 helpful hints." So you have to pack your own towels, suntan lotion, a cooler stocked with favorite foods and beverages. We have grilling utensils and free charcoal for guests. Oh, that's kind of cool too. So if you bring your own food, you can cook it there for free. Bonfires, that's nice. Fishing poles. I would believe that there's like Wisconsin Dells is super natural still, thankfully. I mean, outside of the touristy parts. Use our laundry room. Oh, that's kind of cool that they also, I mean, I'm sure it's coin operated, so you still have to pay for it. Huh. Ooh, the King Suite. Dang, that doesn't look too fancy for a king suite. You're telling me this sleeps 4 people? Does that couch unfold into a bed? How much does this cost? Oh, okay, I have to get like... I see. So to actually look at the price, I would have to put in a random day. Okay, let's say that I'm doing a random day in... Like, let's say it's for the weekend of my birthday, which is June 28th. Well, I guess it would be... What would the rate be? Oh, oops. Wait, why is it coming up as 0? Is their website glitched? Or are they just like closed down because of coronavirus, so it's always just gonna show $0? Let's go to a day like really far in the future. Like, let's do August. No, I think their website is glitched. Okay, that's cool. What is this? Area favorites. Oh, just a list of things. Groups and reunions. Ooh, the About Us page. Started out as a vacation home for the Tilka family. Parents, Walter, originally from Poland and Chicago, had a cottage built in the style of their homeland, employing Polish craftsmen to replicate the peaked gables. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. So it's kind of like a Polish architecture themed resort then. The Tilgas decided to share their little slice of paradise with visitors, building a resort into a sandstone cliff adjacent to their home. The resort opened July 4th. The original cottage still serves as the family home, with son Mark joining his parents running the resort. Words like warm, welcoming, hardworking, and meticulous show up often in guest reviews of the Tilkas. It's becoming so rare these days that a resort be owned and still operated by the original family, and that emotional connection to the property makes all the difference. Huh. Okay, so the main level of the family home has been converted to office lobby where you'll check in, and the lower level with the called large commercial style kitchen is a popular gathering place for family reunions and group and friends. And yes, the Tilkas still live upstairs. After all, they love the vacation setting as much now as they did when they first vacationed in the Dells over 45 years ago. Oh my gosh, that's super cute. Oh, a video. Okay. You know we're about to watch this video.
Welcome to Wisconsin Dells, and welcome to Cliffside Resort. Nestled atop rare sandstone cliffs, enjoy panoramic views of historic Lake Delton year-round. This family-owned and operated resort is the perfect escape from your everyday life. Begin your stay with a trip to the outdoor pool area. Take a ride down the water slide, or climb onto the floating polar bear. Soak away your cares in the outdoor whirlpool, or tan by the pools while overlooking the lake and its many sights. The indoor pool and whirlpool, along with the game room, offer seasonal landscapes of Lake Delton throughout the year. Work off your stress and work up a sweat in the fitness room, and then relax your body in the sauna. Fish, swim, boat, or experience the beauty of Lake Delton along the lakefront with our boat docks, or enjoy a ski show across the lake from the beach, pool areas, or your own private balcony. With so many different room options, from standard 2-queen lake view rooms to adjoining family suites or romantic whirlpool suites, we've got the perfect room for your needs. As the day winds down, enjoy a bonfire roasting marshmallows with the family and friends under the stars. With all that you need for your getaway, escape to a place of relaxation and fun, right here, all year at Cliffside Resort in Wisconsin Dells.
Wow, that's actually a pretty, like, I don't know. I am tickled by that. Like, that's actually really cute and, like, I don't know. Oh god, got some megalovania now. Huh. Okay. So, this research is really helpful for me to better understand what it is, I guess kind of what it means to own a resort type business up there. Now, if I really wanted to go deep into research, where's the contact us? If I really wanted to dig into this research, I would actually email or call them and try to set up a meeting where I can just talk to the owners and be like, hey, can you tell me a bit about what it's like to own a resort up in the Dells? Because, I mean, I don't know if I would directly say that I'm writing a story about it, but I could just tell them that I'm really curious about what it's like. And I don't know, maybe that's an interview I should try to set up. That would be kind of fun to do on stream, interview type things. So that's kind of cool. What kind of other resorts are there outside of that? Okay, so this map will be helpful because then I'll get to see. Oh god, it's a motel! I mean, I'm not trying to take a dump on motels, but I mean, when you're spending $45 for spending the night, that's kinda know what you're expecting. Or you should know what you're expecting. You should know what to expect. Welcome to River Road Motel. What? Free passes to Chula Vista Parks? What the heck? Okay. Ooh, free shuttle to and from Ho Chunk Casino. So that's not awful, honestly. Like, if you just wanted to go to like the Chula Vista for a day, I wonder if it's almost cheaper to like reserve a room at the motel and then get those free passes. Does this say what kind of rooms they have? Single beds and 2 beds. Oh my gosh, this website's so old that the reservations thing is broken. Their image didn't load. Someone put a bad link there. Dude, what the hell? I think my neighbor is smoking again. Dude, that's like one of the things that sucks about this quarantine is that I'm stuck at home and I I mean, I don't really know my neighbors in this apartment, but I definitely don't appreciate that when they go out and smoke, they smoke like literally right outside my living room window. So I just kind of have to like live with that. But that's whatever. I will be moving very soon. I'm hoping to buy my own condo soon so I don't have to deal with this anymore. I'm also gonna leave this place like a really bad review in like apartments.com or something. Just because like this is like, so for myself, I don't have any breathing issues. Like I don't have asthma. I don't have, you know, any sort of issue that would cause me to have lung problems or breathing problems. But for someone who does have breathing problems, like this is high key like a health risk. And I think that's really, I think people should know about that, and I think it's actually really shady of this apartment complex to advertise this apartment and not mention that. Like, I think that should very much be something that they talk about. Okay, so this place looks like your very typical kind of motel. I mean, it at least looks cleaner than how I thought it was going to look. Like, the floors look pretty nice, they look pretty new, the countertops look pretty new. So I guess it's not awful. That looks really dated. That looks like, I don't know. This looks like that's from, like, the 60s, that style. Maybe even before that, like, the 40s. Okay, so just like a very little, very quaint place then. Oh, that's kind of nice. They put a seal over the toilet after they clean it, so that way they know that it's actually clean. That's kind of cool. Oh no. Look at these reviews. I don't even know why I'm doing this anymore. I should really be writing. But folks, this is one of the things with writing is that it's so easy to get off track and it's so easy to get lost in other things. But I'm not even mad about it. Oh, the wilderness. Dude, they're a 3-star hotel? What on earth? I didn't know that. Lake Delta Waterfront Vista. Or Villas. Ooh, this place looks kind of fancy. Let's take a look. Let's see what they are. I think I've actually driven past this place before because, so my parents, they own a cabin up in the Dells. Ooh, look, naked people, don't look. Yeah, my parents own a cabin up in the Dells, and so I think I've actually driven past this place. This is kind of cool. This autoplay video. I deny your cookies. Got a beach right there. Wait, those do not look like their children. Water park passes. Wait, I'm confused. So, oh, it just took me to the Kalahari website. Okay, I got really confused. I was like, why does this website have a link to purchase, like, things for... Ooh, what do their villas look like? Whoa, okay. So these are the kind of places where you could, like, literally take not one family, but, like, literally, like, a couple families, and you can all, like, hang out there. I guess that's pretty cool. They can sleep up to 12 guests. Yeah, I love that. It's like a little house. How much does this cost, though? That is crazy. I can't even believe this. Really excited what this looks like. Lakeside Villa, I imagine it's just like its own little house. 60-20 guess, yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, so they're just like their own little cabins. Okay. That's kind of cool. So, wait a second. Wait a second, this is just connected to the Kalahari! Hold on a second, I'm feeling bamboozled here. So I thought that this was like its own place, but it's not. This is just like another thing connected to the Kalahari resorts. Wow. Damn, you gotta love capitalism and horizontal integration. No, vertical integration, that's what it's called. For those of you non-economics people out there, vertical integration is when a business will seize the means of production in addition to like the person who sells the product as well. So what Kalahari has done is they have the water park, they also have the hotels you stay at for that water park. So now they're no longer just a water park, they're a water park and you also sleep there. And then, you know, they can create like whole things around that, like they can also create like restaurants and bars and stuff. So they're like owning everything that belongs there. And yeah, it can be good in some situations, like a resort, obviously that's not going to do too much damage to the economy, but this can get really dangerous, especially when you start looking at certain businesses like the oil industry, for example. Vertical integration in the oil industry is a really big problem because BP, for example, literally owns like the production of oil, the refinement of oil, the sales of oil, so they just have this capital on like oil and they just control the oil, and that can be really scary actually, and that can lead to a lot of issues. If you're curious about learning more about vertical integration, I recommend you take a look at the Gilded era of America and start to look at some of that history. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, I did not realize my music was that loud again. Yes. Oh, where'd my pages go? Okay. So yeah, this is just an example of vertical integration. But I mean, it looks like a nice place. Like, I would not hate staying here, especially if I'm just trying to go chill for like a weekend or something and just try to do something fun for a weekend. Like, I don't know, no harm, no foul. I really don't see anything too terrible with that. Oh gosh, how do I even capture this in my story now? So I have an idea of like what a country club is. I have an idea of what a resort is, especially resorts and country clubs up in the Dells. So I know for sure that country club is not what I want it to be, because again, a country club looks like it's mostly just for, I guess, kind of like golfing and other recreational activities. I think I do want to go more the resort / weekend getaway route for this story. I think that's just more appropriate for the kind of story I want to tell. I think it's probably going to be more resemblant of the Cliffside Resort versus the Lakeside Resort. Anyone who wasn't here for Cliffside was a smaller resort that was family run and family owned. And so I think that could actually be pretty... I think that could be like the main thing that I do is that Cliffside Resort. Oh my gosh, my neighbor's smoking again. I swear, she's been smoking out there for like 30 minutes. I changed my mind. I think I know how I want to introduce this now. I'm gonna say... When I was younger, Dad always said Robin's Cove was our castle. Stressful day for her. Not too stressful, honestly. It's a Friday. I'm really happy that it's a Friday. I'm just trying to... It's been an interesting week, like, with everything transitioning to online. And... I don't know. I'm really curious what it's like from the student perspective, because I don't get to, like, talk to students very much anymore, because so much of it is done through online. Fluffy Poochie, I'm assuming that you are one of my students. I mean, I can't tell from your name, but I'm assuming you're one of my students or someone that I at least interact with at school. Coolio. Fluffy Poochie, how has online schooling been for you? You don't have to reveal your identity if you don't want to. Completely up to you, but how's it been? Oh my gosh. When you said her, I thought you were referring to my last name. I don't know. She's retired and she doesn't work anymore. I think she's definitely very lonely. I don't be mean to her. Like, I still say hi to her when I see her outside and stuff, or like, I don't know, I'm not mean to my neighbors. I don't believe in being mean. I just don't appreciate when they, like, I don't appreciate smoking in general. Like, it just, I think that it's really, I think smoking is like a really selfish thing to do. Especially when people smoke in public, because we know what the effects of secondhand smoke and also third-hand smoke are. And so it's really frustrating when people choose to smoke, knowing that their decision to impact their own body also impacts everyone else. I just think that that's really rude, and I don't know. If someone were to smoke in like a closet by themselves and only they could get impacted by that, I think that's fine. And that's a choice that they can make, but the fact that smoking impacts everyone around them, that really frustrates me. Anyways, Fluffy Poochie, tell me about online schooling and how that transition has been for you. In the meantime, I'm gonna try to figure out how I want to write this paragraph. Oh, I love this song. Let's see, when I was younger, Dad always said Robin's Cove was our castle. Dude, it's like hard to write on stream. Like, I'm a lot better at revising than I am at writing. It just requires so much thought to like do this. Oh, that's, yeah. That's rough, Fluffy Poochie. Dang. Yeah, I think, so to that regard, Fluffy Poochie, I think that's something that a lot of teachers don't realize, is that they can put due dates on things. Something that I'm actually doing for my classes is I am actually just like separating out, like, this week, these are like the 2 things that you should do, just so that way students know exactly what they should be doing. Oh my gosh, Fluffy Poochie, I feel you on that one though. I love that I can like basically wake up whenever I want, and I mean, I know that technically I'm supposed to still kind of like work the same hours as I would when I'm on contract, but at the same of the time, like it's so nice to be able to wake up at like 7:30 or like 8 o'clock and like get ready really slowly. And I mean like the first thing I do every morning usually is I come start the stream and I come do some writing. And honestly, I don't expect a ton of people to come to this writing stream. I do it mostly for myself to keep myself accountable to writing. Otherwise, I know I'll never actually write. You don't go to bed till 12? Oh my goodness. I've been really good. I've been going to sleep at like 10 o'clock every night ever since school got out. And I say I get in bed at 10 o'clock. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm sleeping. Usually I still stay up like and watch a couple videos in bed or read a bit in bed before I go to sleep. Dude, journaling and eating breakfast, I support. Well, Foley Poochie, if you ever wake up at 9 o'clock and you're laying in bed and have some time to burn, you can always come watch the stream. We just chill, listen to some instrumental music from video games and anime, and do some writing. And I mean, honestly, my writing is kind of trash right now because I haven't been writing very much, so there are so many things that should just be second nature to me, but just are not. Okay, I really have to figure out what this is gonna say. When I was younger, Dad always said Robin's Cove was our castle. I interpreted this as... My 6-year-old brain therefore established this as a castle. So I was really surprised when we learned about oh my gosh, how do you spell medieval? Oh, I-E-V-A-L. Cool. When we learn about medieval Europe and what those castles looked like, I was even more surprised to further learn what Chinese and Japanese castles looked like in an online East Asian history class I took. So in this paragraph right here, for those of you who don't know a ton about the background of the story, so Avery is the main character of the story, and Avery dropped out of high school and finished doing high school online. And I swear I planned out the story before we all were forced to go into online schooling. Yeah, Avery was being bullied at school, and so he dropped out of school and started to do school online. And so that is kind of why I dropped this little thing in here, is just to kind of start to foreshadow talking about how Avery took online classes while not necessarily being like, I dropped out of high school and had to finish online, like, you know, whatever, stuff like that. Again, working on our skill of showing, not telling. So these kind of like little hint drops, these like little fact drops that you put here and there, little details, these are a really good way as writers to like get certain background, get certain history across without necessarily having to write out entire paragraphs of history, which for the most part is something that you should try to avoid unless it's unavoidable. Also, I just got an email, so I have to check what that is really quick. iPad, tell me who emailed me. Oh, okay. So they just sent out the email to all families about how semester 2 classes are all going to be pass-fail. So any of you who are in here in the chat right now who are Middleton High School students, your classes are all going to be pass-fail. Now, that's going to vary from class to class. Like, I think for the most part, every class is going to have a set of requirements saying like, hey, you have to do these things to be considered passing in this class. If you have any questions specifically about what counts as a passing grade or what counts as passing in a specific class, just make sure that you ask the teacher, your specific teacher, what it's about or what is considered passing. Oh, is yearbook pass-fail? I didn't realize yearbook was pass-fail. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that yearbook was pass-fail like that. I would be really interested in teaching my English classes a little bit more pass-fail style. Like, obviously, you would still get a grade like a 1, 2, 3, 4 based on how well you do with things. But, I don't know. There are so many things that I do with my students that essentially become pass-fail. Because there are times where students will turn something in and I'll just literally hand it back to them and be like, yeah, I am not grading this. This is a mess. And so to that extent, they have failed, but I give them that chance to retry and do it again to get that passing grade. So there's a lot that, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of pass-fail. I just think that, personally, I just think that grades first and foremost are super subjective. Every single one of your teachers does not grade the same way, and every single one of your teachers has a different grading philosophy. So grades are super subjective, and I don't care what anyone says about rubrics or, whatever. Grades are subjective. Unless you are literally grading a true-false answer test, a grade is always going to be subjective. And a true-false test is not going to be an accurate measure of someone's knowledge about anything, which is why that's not how we test most people for everything. And I just think because grades are so subjective, I think it's unfair to be like, well, this is what an A is and this is what a B is. Both of them are passing, but this is the difference between an A and a B. And as a teacher, personally, I just believe that we should be pushing everyone towards an A. We should just be trying to get everyone to be advanced at everything. And that's not to say that everyone has to be advanced at everything, but that's what we should be pushing people to do, is that we want them to be advanced in their skills. And what's advanced for one person might be different than another person, and so that's an important thing to keep in mind as well. Oh, I just got a text from Wisconsin Dems. I got my absentee ballot voting, so I don't have to go to the polls and risk getting sick. So I am ready to vote. So I think right here now, I want to describe like the ride up to the resort, because I imagine that this is going to be kind of scenic, or not kind of, it's going to be pretty scenic, because I mean it's a resort in the Dells, so they're right on the they're right on a lake or right on the river. It's going to be very open, I assume, lots of pine trees. So I need to describe that in a way that also propels the story forward. Like, I don't just want a paragraph of description, because that's not going to be a very impactful. That's not going to be very impactful for the reader. Like, descriptions for the sake of descriptions is not helpful. And instead, I want my descriptions to actually convey something about the story. Like, maybe it's going to foreshadow something that's going to pop up in the future. So I'm going to leave that as a note. So for example, if I talk about like a little bush shrubbery in this description, that bush or shrubbery should probably come back in the future at some point. Like maybe that's a bush or shrubbery that, I don't know, Avery trips over later. Oh, that's actually like kind of a cute idea. maybe I'll do that. No bike lanes. I'm relegated. Paths barely fit 2 compact cars, let alone a random kid on a bike. Alright, let's read that and see how that sounds. So, with no bike lanes, I'm relegated to rolling alongside cars of all sizes on already cramped roads. The paths barely fit 2 compact cars, let alone a random kid on a bike trying to maintain balance with a canvas bag strapped to one side. What's a good phrase? Okay. I'm trying to think of a phrase right now that will capture, like, you know, that typical, like, American housewife look from the 40s, where, like, their hair is always, like, primped and proper, and they wear, like, these, like, dresses, and oftentimes have aprons on, like, that very stereotypical, like, American woman look. quintessential. Wow, I butchered that spelling. Oh, okay, I'm actually kind of like digging this little description I created right here. This was small town America. I didn't need more reasons to look like Becky Smith, the quintessential American housewife. Never a strand of hair out of place and never an apple pie overdone. Pinned roundup hair. Yes, Fluffy Poochie. Pinned roundup hair is definitely that kind of like raw description I was thinking of. I like saying never a strand of hair out of place though, because I feel like it captures that idea of pinned roundup hair, and also that it captures that idea of like kind of perfection as well. That kind of like unrealistic expectation of perfection that was placed on many women during this time. Oh, I should put a little bit more, like, kind of a... So the reason why I really like this is actually because it... Like, we get to see some of Avery's sassier side, some of Avery's, like, sarcasm. And when you have a first-person narrator, this kind of stuff is super, super important. Because if your first-person narrator is literally just documenting everything that happens in the world, that story isn't compelling and your character isn't realistic. Because I think when most of us go out into the world, we don't narrate everything that we're seeing in a way that's like, ah yes, the blue bird with wings of gold, like, swooped down and plucked a worm from the dry, crusted earth. Like, I don't really think that's how we talk in real life. Not all of us anyways. And I don't know, especially considering Avery's like 18 years old. He's just finished his first year of college. Oh my gosh, Fluffy Poochie, you never know that though. Okay, maybe some people really do talk like that. Avery Robinson does not talk like that. Avery Robinson is your... I mean, you know, despite his history and despite his experiences, I would say he's a pretty typical American teen. And I mean, that actually becomes one of the struggles that he has to deal with later in this, like in the actual stories, because even though Avery himself is Asian, but he was adopted by a white American family. And so even though he was basically raised to be this like typical American teen, he doesn't look in quotes like the typical American teen, simply because of his race and ethnicity. Okay, where do I go from here? Okay, so I talk about the path leading up to the house. Okay, now that I think this paragraph now has to actually go down here. Okay, I have to put some of these in other colors. Alright, that's a really aggressive red. Let's go for a less aggressive red. Wow, no change. Okay, that's cool. Is there like a dull red? Here. Okay, I kind of like this sequence now. This also works as like this transition that I didn't quite have between this part. Let's read through this entire sequence and see if it all fits together now. So, hey, recognition flutters through my body. My memory's dripping down my neck like hot molasses. By the time it reaches my toes, a couple seconds must have passed. I inch forward. I wish there was a way to give direct questions on an assignment in Buzz other than just emailing. I wanted to ask about an assignment in culinary arts, but I'd have to email. Yeah, that's one of the... So, I agree, Fluffy Poochie. I do wish that Buzz had its own built-in communication that maybe could be linked to email, but at the same time, like, a student could literally just post something on Buzz and then, like, a teacher gets notified about that. That would be really convenient. Hi, you're Ryan's friend from high school, right? He nods. Yeah, Matthew Rhodes. And yeah, I was Ryan's friend. You're Ryan's little brother, right? Yeah, I say, though I haven't seen Ryan in over a year since he moved to California for work. He congratulated me on graduating high school and jumped on a plane right away, it seems. Avery, right? Yeah, I say, again. The eyes behind me pressure me forward towards the self-checkout scanner, plopping my items down and scanning them one by one. Only the beeps and robotic budget Siri woman reading off my meager grocery list fill the silence. A swipe of my debit card draws an impatient customer closer. The heat and musk off their bodies intrudes my personal bubble, and I back away with my items stowed in a UW-Madison Multicultural Student Center canvas bag. I throw back one fleeting glance to Ryan's friend, Matthew. Like a weird evolutionary instinct, my lips tightened into a Midwestern half-smile while I'm still trying to shove my wallet back into my purse without creasing the edges of the library book I just checked out. His back straightens, our eyes meet. The bubblings of a thought, or maybe even just a feeling that hasn't made its way to his thoughts yet, barely break the surface of his copper eyes. But just as I'm about to stop for that bubbling feeling, Budget Siri calls out, "Please wait for assistance," followed by an exasperated sigh from a young woman with pin-straight blonde hair and a 2-orange spray tan. Hoisting a large bottle of vodka. Wait, that doesn't make sense if it's sitting. Okay, change that back. And a large bottle of vodka sitting in the banking zone. Matthew's eyes break away. Let's make that its own paragraph. Make it dramatic. Quick steps follow to the beat of my heart. Footsteps to the beat of my heart take me out of Pick and Save into the summer heat. Strapping on my helmet, I unlock and hop on my bike. Just before slipping into the street, I glance back at the Pick and Save. Ha 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 ha. Okay, I really am feeling like I just need to take this out. This is just a little too much. I feel like this is too much tell and not enough show. With no bike lanes, I'm relegated to rolling alongside cars of all sizes on already cramped roads. The paths barely fit 2 compact cars, let alone a random kid on a bike trying to maintain balance with a canvas bag strapped to one side of the handlebar. I should have just opted for a bike basket, but I thought it would look too tacky. This was small-town America. I didn't need more reasons to look like Becky Smith, the quintessential American housewife. Never a strand of hair out of place and never an apple pie overdone. Luckily today, though, nobody's fighting me for the roadway on my way home. When I was younger, Dad always said Robin's Cove was our castle. My 6-year-old brain therefore established this as a castle, so I was really surprised when we learned about medieval Europe and what those castles looked like. I was even more surprised to further learn about what Chinese and Japanese castles look like in an online East Asian history class I took. I don't think I need to say a class I took. If it's a class that the character mentions, presumably it is a class that they took. That's just unnecessarily wordy. from a distance, it's easy to forget I live here. Here being Robin's Cove. Here being Robin's Cove, the place I called home for so many years. That feels cheesy. That line right there. That line feels cliche. That might be worth changing in the future. Okay, this entire line feels really cheesy. I'm deleting all of that. I don't like that anymore. So, the Robin's Cove sign greets me. No, that's awkward. From a distance, it's easy to forget I live here. The Robin's Cove sign greets me at the okay. Oh no, I'm forgetting the... Oh, I wrote a version of this at some point. And so there's supposed to be this worker dude who works there, and he was like definitely kind of like a makeshift parent to Avery for most of his life. And did a lot of impromptu babysitting, essentially. Why am I forgetting his name? You know, I bet I could find it. It's in my... I know it's in my Google Drive somewhere. Creative things. Writing. Stories. Oh, I think this is it right here. Nope, this. Oh, my mouse, what are you doing? Oh. Okay. Wait a second. I think this is a completely different story. Oh, that's a completely different story. Wow. Oh, that was like the original version of the story, like version 1.0. This is version 2.0, which is a lot closer to the version that I'm currently writing. Ah, yes. Oh, my lamp just turned off. Oh my gosh, his name was Yusef. Okay. Yes, I got it. So this garden that I mentioned right here, this garden is definitely going to come back later into the story, which is one of the reasons why I am mentioning it at all to begin with. Again, remember, as a writer, you always want to have every word be meaningful, every word matter, and so this garden is definitely going to come back later in the story. In fact, I should probably highlight it. say Brandon's out there with a guilty expression. Period. Huh, okay, still probably smoking again, but judging by the modular movement of his jaw as he gnaws on gum. Delete, delete, delete. Cool. Okay, now we're kind of back to where this story originally left off. Or not left off, but like where I started to make edits and things. How's your first day of work, Avo? What you would expect. The kids are crazy energetic all the time, but they're all excited to practice music together. Any Prodigy kids in the mix? I shrug. Don't know yet. If there are any, they sure don't act like Prodigy kids. Brandon pushes off the wall and follows me to the door. Beth called in today. Has a sick kid at home. Might need you to do... what kind of jobs are there at a resort? Or like a hotel type thing? I mean, I guess hotels also have front house. You know, I'm just gonna keep that as front house. Sure. Might need you to do front house for an hour or two if things get hectic. Yes, Captain, I say with a salute. I have to delete all that, because none of that makes sense anymore. So this thing about tips, that doesn't make any sense either. Ugh, I need more interaction between these two. Something that sounds very utilitarian, something that isn't super, like... Something that shows that they don't have a very emotional connection with one another. Because, again, that's going to be one of the struggles between these two characters, these two brothers, is that they don't have a strong emotional bond. They don't have a strong emotional connection. I should probably end this stream soon, too. I am much past my streaming time, but it's a Friday. I'm just trying to chill. I mean, I do have to take a look at some of my actual work soon, though. Huh, the way they walk away from each other. That could... That's... You know, that could actually, like, be a decent thing to do. Like, maybe the conversation really does just end here. And so they just, like, have no more small talk with one another. Like, they're just... That's it. Like... Their interaction is literally just, how is your day? And then, and also Brandon being like, by the way, I need you to work today. And then their conversation just ends. This could Fluffy Poochie, you know what? You might be onto something right here. What if it, yeah, and then Brandon just says, thanks, Avo. And then it just ends. Like, their conversation literally just ends right there. Brandon gives me a pat on the shoulder. Well, now I have to take out this pat on the shoulder, though, because I feel like a pat on the shoulder kind of... Well, no, maybe the pat on the shoulder can be worth it, because I still want to show that they, like, love each other and that they care about each other, but just that they, like, they're not good at communicating with one another. Like, they don't have strong communication. Oh, so you mean like maybe Avery tenses once he pats? You know, okay, I think I'm gonna keep this. And let me give you my reasoning for this. I think I'm going to keep this because I think what I'm going to have in Brandon's character development is that he actually is a very loving, affectionate person, but he's not a very verbally affectionate person. And so he shows his love in a lot of other ways because, you know, there are the multiple love languages. Yeah, there's like the 5 different love languages. I wonder if I can find a picture of it. So there are the 5 different types of love languages. Oh, some of these tabs. Can I just zoom in on this picture? Okay. So there are the different types of love languages, and so maybe I just have like physical touch and acts of service be kind of like Brandon's love languages, whereas Avery is definitely more of like the quality time and the words of affirmation. Well, no, not really words of affirmation. I would say that's mostly the other brother, Ryan, is mostly words of affirmation. Because Ryan is the older brother that Avery is really close with, and Ryan is very, like, verbally affectionate. Oh my gosh. Okay, idea. Whoa, okay, mind blown by kind of this idea. What if... So Avery has 4 siblings in total, and a dad. Their mom passed away. What if every single one of them is kind of a different, like, love language that Avery experiences? Because Brandon could be the physical touch, Ryan can be words of affirmation, Stacy would probably be like the receiving gifts, honestly. Like, that's how she shows her love. The younger brother, Jordan, maybe does acts of service, like, you know, helping out with chores and errands and stuff whenever asked, or sometimes even without being asked. And then the thing that Avery values the most with both his dad and also his previous mom was the quality time. Oh my god. I'm freaking out, kinda. This is huge. I feel like I just figured this out. Okay. Dang. I'm such a good writer, but like I'm awful at the same time. Okay, I'm gonna have it be that way because, you know, love and affection are definitely pretty important subjects that come up in this story. So yeah. Okay. All right. We got it. We got it through. I just got a text from... Oh, one of my coworkers. Okay, I'm pretty impressed with that breakthrough. I'm thoroughly impressed by that I thought of that. And that'll be like one of those very subtle, kind of like subliminal messaging kind of things that slips into the story. Like, I'm obviously not going to have a paragraph being like where Avery's like, each of my siblings and my dad is a different representation of a love language. Like, obviously I'm not going to do that. That's very much a tell and not very much of a show. So now I just have to focus on showing that through my writing, that each of these characters interacts with him in a different way and kind of shows that they love him in a different way. And also he receives all of these characters in a different way as well. So maybe, as a matter of fact, maybe Avery does kind of tense up when Brandon gives him a pat on the shoulder. Because maybe Avery isn't like, I don't know, maybe Avery isn't accustomed to getting that kind of physical affection. I know that's something that like a lot of people actually struggle with, is like is physical affection. Dang, it would make so much sense though. It makes so much sense though, because like Brandon is the oldest sibling, and he's the one who like spent a lot of time raising and taking care of the younger siblings. And so it makes a lot of sense that he would be the one who is most comfortable showing like physical affection to the other siblings. Because if you think about it, like, Brandon would have been someone who like held them a lot as babies. He would have been someone who like, you know, maybe even bathed them sometimes, or he would have been someone who, I don't know, there's like a lot of stuff that he would have done as an older brother that would lend itself to being pretty physically affectionate. Well, to that extent, then, I feel like Avery would be used to it at this point. I feel like Avery would be used to Brandon, like, you know, showing physical affection. So, here's the thing. I bet what would happen, though, and I am gonna highlight this. I am gonna highlight this, because this is important. Because you see, Avery's lack of a reaction in this scene is actually going to play really well into future scenes when Avery has physical contact with other characters, mainly when Avery has physical contact with the love interest in the story, Matthew, and that is very uncomfortable for Avery. So that can be a big like comparison that can be made between the two characters, how Avery interacts with the two characters. So I actually do like that Avery does not tense up at this scene then. For those of you who are watching live / watching this at a future time, if you watch some of my other lives, if you watch some of these as a video later, what I did right there is I just kind of like, I reasoned through my story. I did it out loud so that way everyone else could hear, but oftentimes as a writer I will do this in my own head, or like I'll take my own personal notes about this kind of stuff. And again, when you're writing a story, you want to make every single word and every single action count for something. And so even something as small as like Brandon giving Avery a pat on the shoulder, like I said, that could be huge. Because if in the future, like, Matthew gives Avery a hug and Avery tenses up, like, just kind of tenses and doesn't know how to react, like, that's a very big dynamic right there, and we get to see that big dynamic contrast. So again, in your own writing, what you want to think about is, how are you always going to make something count in the future? Like, you can't just describe something for the sake of describing it. It always has to count for something later in the story. Alright, so now this reads as, Brandon gives me a pat on the shoulder before breaking off into the building, while I chain my bike to an old wooden fence blocking the dumpsters from plain sight. Okay, cool. So now what I've got going on is I have I've given a little bit of setting detail in addition to giving some more character growth and character development, all in one sentence. So this is really like the power of what revising and editing your work, and again, using that tool of show don't tell can really add, how that can really add to your writing. Oh geez, where do I go from here? Okay, so I can't really use any of this anymore because this is all about restaurants. So all that has to go. Boop. It's dead. It can't hurt us anymore. I can still have the same idea though. There are truths and myths about running a resort. Truth. You're always working. Day and night. Myth. You don't have access to the nicest rooms and cabins. Those are reserved for guests. Truth. You can live on site, but not always. Myth. Your living arrangement isn't nearly as nice as the resort rooms. Truth. What country is he from? Middle Eastern country, Arabic speaking country. Morocco? Do they speak? What language do they speak in Morocco? Arabic. Wow, Morocco's so beautiful. I mean, I know that's only part of Morocco, obviously not all of it. What do Moroccan people look like? Okay, so these people do kind of look like how I imagined Yusef to look. Like kind of that Northern African look. Cool. Let's use Morocco. Who texted me? Oh my gosh, okay. I have to end the stream. I am leaving in like 10 minutes. Holy crap, I did not check my phone. And yeah, my sister's coming to pick me up soon so we can go up to the Dells because my parents are actually like, they're moving cabins right now, so I have to go help them move. Thank you all for coming to the stream, and if you're watching this video later, thank you for watching the video and coming to do some writing with me. I'm really happy with the progress that I've made so far. As you can see, the writing process is really long and it's really messy. So I hope that you, as you work on your own personal projects, that you are able to kind of get through the tough stuff. Again, this is like the messy, ugly part of writing. And yeah, writing is a struggle, but it's a struggle we love. Well, y'all, that is all I've got for you today. I do not know if I will be doing a just for fun writing stream tomorrow or not. I might be in the Dells, like with my parents and helping them move and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. But until next time, I will see you all later. Bye, y'all.